Yes, please. Hello and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. Welcome to April. March went by in the speediest of times. I can't actually believe March went by so quickly. But now here we are on the 1st of April. Happy Easter weekend to those who are enjoying Easter weekend. And I am here to do my March favourites. One of the things I've got to say, my March favourites, just looking at myself in the viewfinder there, this new mental hairstyle I've got, I feel like I've been really working it good. All I've been doing with this is putting it in 2 Dutch braids, 3, because I do 1 down the back as well, because these bits of hair don't make my Dutch braids at the front. My hair's too short at the moment to put into like neat Dutch braids, so I have to like really pin them back. But I've been sleeping with my hair in 2 Dutch braids when it's slightly damp, and then when I wake up I take it out and it's a bit sort of ringlety then. But as it drops as the day goes on, it goes very nice. So well done my hair throughout March. You've been doing very well. I will start, although I did just start with my hair, with my favourite books. Now, this has been really difficult because March has been an amazing, amazing reading month. I got, leaning over to pick these up, 2 5-star reads in March. Minnie, what's she got? Apples. She's playing with apples. 2 5-star reads in March that I absolutely adored, and I won't go into too much detail. Oh, I've got my light there and it's so bloody bright. Elmet by Fiona Mosley, and 3 Things About Elsie by Joanna Cannon. Both of these are long listed for the Women's Prize for Fiction, and I read both of those in March. What I've been doing, I've been putting the choices of books that I have to read next in terms of the Women's Prize for Fiction long list, because I don't want to read all of them, but I've been getting some out from the library and I've been putting them as a poll on Twitter, and then you guys have been voting for the one that I'm going to be reading next, which I feel like as an experience has also been one of my favourites, because although I've been picking the books that I want to read, it's been nice to sort of hand over to you guys what order I read them in. So I read 3 Things About Elsie first and gave it 5 stars, and then I read Elmet and gave that 5 stars as well. Both of those amazing books. I feel like my heart at the moment still resides with Eleanor Oliphant Is Completely Fine, but I love those 2. Probably Elmet just nudges it a bit for me, but both of them are amazing. But I also read 2 books which I gave 4 stars in the month of March, and both of them, I think they were just completely like right book, right time, because I devoured the pair of them, and I just feel like in terms of absolute page turners, and if you're looking for a book that's an absolute page turner, maybe you want to read it in like 1 sitting or something like that, I would recommend both of these. The first one is Let Me Lie by Claire Mackintosh. I really love this, so much Claire. I really love this. This is a crime thriller about a woman, Anna, whose parents both committed suicide within a year of each other, but she's not certain it was suicide, and she gets helped out with a police officer who has retired into looking into the case of her mother and father's apparent suicides. Amazing, really good. And then the next one was Almost Love by Louise O'Neill, which oh god, I just adored this. This is about a character, Sarah, who has an affair with a man who's 20 years her senior, and the sort of love that she puts up with from him, and how it's sort of, she sees it as it's enough for her. It's almost love, and he treats her like shit, and she puts up with him and makes excuses for him, and to the detriment of her relationships with her father, with her friends, her career, and things like that. I would have read this in 1 sitting if I didn't have dinner to do and sleep to do. I thought it was amazing, and both of those, although not the best books I read this month, both of these amazing page turners, but also Elmet and 3 Things About Elsie, great books. Really good month of reading. I've got one more thing to show you before I get more into sort of things that I've been up to. You may well have seen, hair in my mouth. You may well have seen that I have recently, oh god, that lighting is so bad, I might even turn that off. I think we're bright enough outside. That's better. You may well have seen that I put up my £20 cruelty-free challenge video this month. I will link that down below. That was one of my favourite videos that I filmed this month. I really enjoyed filming it. It's where I take £20 and go to the high street and buy at least 10 products that are cruelty-free for a sum of money. I've done this for £10, and then most recently I've done it for £20. One of the things I bought in that video, and as I said I will link the video down below, was the Big Chill Out bath soak from a range that they sell in Sainsbury's called Dirty Works. This is really, really lovely. See if I can focus in on it. It's just so bright in here today. Look, you can't even bloody see it. Maybe you can see it when I'm editing. Maybe I'll be thinking, why was I saying it was so bright? This is a wonderful bubble bath. It really bubbles up a lot. And it says on the front that it's with calming chamomile and contains a soothing muscle soak lavender extract. But it's also got in it oil blend of mandarin and rock rose. It is so indulgent and smells amazing. And even just smelling it now, it just smells so lovely. It smells really expensive. I feel like this was like £2 or something like that. I can't remember. If you look at my video, you'll be able to see how much it was. It can't have been more than like, I got it for under £20 and I got 11 products in that video. So it can't have been too much, but oh God, it's just so, it smells really expensive. It smells really like many layered. It smells like a really expensive perfume, and the scent of it really stays on your skin. So if you live near a Sainsbury's or you're going to a Sainsbury's, this is a really nice treat to yourself. And the whole range, in fact, is a lovely, lovely range. And I'm looking forward to testing out a few more bits from their range, but absolutely love that. So some other things that I've been enjoying. First of all, let me have a bit of my tea. So hot. I've got lemon and ginger tea pig's tea. So hot. Every time I drink tea when I'm filming these videos, it's always so hot. Nice. So the first thing that I've been enjoying was a podcast called Fortunately. Fortunately is a podcast which is run by the two hosts who host Women's Hour, which is something that I've mentioned on this channel before. It is a 45-minute slot a day on Radio 4, which talks about women's issues from all sorts of things like the gender pay gap to FGM to periods to menopause to everything, and I really, really love listening to it and listening to their podcast. Now, two of the women who host that, Fee Glover and Jane Garvey, host an additional podcast called Fortunately, which I've only recently found out about. And whilst Women's Hour has got quite a professional air about it, they often have experts on the topics that they're talking about. A lot of the subjects that they cover are very serious. Fortunately is sort of like after school club vibe of Women's Hour, and there's lots of giggles and there's lots of fun, and they have great guests, and they sort of film it in one of the cafes where they record Women's Hour. So there's like loads of background noise, and it just feels really like chill and fun, and like you're just having a chat and a catch up with two friends who I know already through Women's Hour. So I've really, really, really been enjoying that, and they're both such funny women. I've been loving that. So if you enjoy Women's Hour, then really definitely check out Fortunately. Or if sometimes you find Women's Hour a bit heavy, then I feel like Fortunately will definitely be there for you. So I absolutely love that. It was also, speaking of Women's Hour and women, it was International Women's Day this month, which I really, really loved. I had a lovely day. I always love to say like, Happy International Women's Day to everyone on International Women's Day. I just took it as a bit of an opportunity, I guess, to say thank you and how much I love and adore many of the women that I spend a lot of my time with, or who I've met, and who, like, a lot of those women I've met through BookTube and things like that. So it was a lovely opportunity to do that. But it got me to thinking that I should be thanking people and telling them how wonderful they are more often. I shouldn't really save it for just once a year or twice, maybe on their birthday. I say, oh, your hair's quite nice. So it was a really, really nice opportunity to do that. And I also really was excited that the long list for the Women's Prize for Fiction was announced at midnight on International Women's Day, which was very exciting. And then Big Bones by Laura Dockrill, which is on my shelf, that's why I'm sort of gesturing there, that came out on International Women's Day. And yeah, it was just a really, really fun day, and I always enjoy spreading the women's message on International Women's Day, so that was another one that I enjoyed. So couple more things. Two films that I've seen this month, both of which have been amazing. The first one I saw at the cinema, and that was Black Panther. Black Panther is a a Marvel film, so it's like a superhero film, but it is unlike any superhero film I've ever seen in my life. The first thing I loved about it, basically, everyone in it is fit. So man, woman, panther, I just fancied everyone. There was just not a moment on that screen where I was thinking, I don't fancy that person. Everyone was hut. That's not the only thing, because I feel like the storyline was amazing. It looks spectacular. I really love the fact that it's a standalone film, so I get really bad, like, superhero fatigue. I just feel like there's like so many of those films out on the market at the moment, and like to be able to keep up to date with like all who's what in where and what, and like when you're watching them, sometimes you need to know something that's happened with these characters that have happened before. This is like a proper standalone film. It's amazing in its own right. Like, you could just watch this and it's fantastic. I really like the storyline. I really liked discovering new actors and like, they've just got amazing careers ahead of them, and also seeing some people that I had seen in other things. For example, Danae Gurira, she plays Michonne in The Walking Dead, and she is fantastic in The Walking Dead, and she is fucking fantastic in Black Panther, and I just feel like it was amazing. It was just fantastic, and I just can't wait to see those characters appear in other Marvel films. I feel like I'm going to those other Marvel films because I know that characters from Black Panther are in it, and I can't wait to see further Black Panther films. It was fantastic. I adored it. David and I came out of it. It's by far the best Marvel film I've ever seen, and up there with one of the best films I've ever seen. Loved it, loved it, loved it. And then the second film that I've seen this month was Brooklyn. David and I watched it on BBC iPlayer. It was on, I think it was on Mother's Day, actually. Brooklyn is a film adaptation from a book called Brooklyn by Colin Tobin, and it follows a girl whose name I can't bloody remember. Ailish. It follows Ailish, who is an Irish girl whose sister saves up enough money to send her to New York because there's no jobs in Ireland. She hasn't got a life there, and they send her over to New York. And while she's there, she really has struggles settling in. She's got a job set up. They've worked it through the church that they've set up a job for her, and she really struggles to set in. She's very keeps herself to herself, and like some of the scenes, Saoirse Ronan plays Ailish. Some of the scenes where she's like crying and she's just so upset and she's so homesick, and you just think she's never going to get over it. And she meets a guy, an Italian American guy, and she falls in love with him, and then something happens back home which brings her back home. I read the book and really loved the book, but the film was just fantastic. Saoirse Ronan is amazing in it. She is amazing in it. It looks beautiful. Everything is just so gorgeous. So down to like what she's wearing. I love the way that the things she was wearing in New York, she looks so like on trend and fashionable and things like that. And then when you see her wearing the same clothes when she's brought back to Ireland, they look like completely different outfits, and just everything was just done so cleverly, and it just looks beautiful, and I just loved it. I really enjoyed it. And David and I have been doing this thing on a Monday, which I think I mentioned in my last favourites video, where I pick 3 films and he picks one of those 3 films, and then the following week he picks 3 films and I pick one of the films. And that week I'd picked Brooklyn was one of them, and he picked it, and I said, oh, you fancied Brooklyn then? He was like, no, I didn't want any of them, but it was the best of a bad bunch. He loved that film like as much as I did. We both really enjoyed it, so it was amazing. And honestly, it was one of those films, I haven't felt this for a long time, that as soon as it had finished I was like, I could put that on again and watch it again completely. I thought it was bloody brilliant. And then the last thing is that I have been enjoying a week off. I had a lovely week off this week. I had some annual leave to use up before the end of the financial year, which was really nice, and I've just done quite a lot of reading, and I've been really keeping the flat tidy, which as I look around, David and I have been out for the day, the flat is not tidy at the moment, but David's out for the evening and I'm going to tidy up again, and I've just been really getting a lot of joy out of like keeping things tidy. David and I are not very tidy people, but we've just been having a lovely time keeping things tidy. Oh, he's out of the bath already. How you feeling? All right. He's got a bit of a cold. I'm going to go now because my battery's flashing, but those are some of my favourite things from the month of March. Would love to hear what some of your favourite things from the month of March have been. What have you been up to, and have you got things exciting going on in April? And I will see you all again soon for another BookTube video. Goodbye!